Welcome back. We're still on that pro-abortion conversation, and of course that court session that resumes at 2:30. We've gotten an update from our reporter Caroline B from outside the Milimani locus. She says at 2:30 the court goes back to session with various testimonies. But for now, let's just try and understand what are the thoughts for those in the medical world as this conversation once again comes up courtesy of FIDA. I want us to now speak to a professor on phone to just give us an update on what they think. Thank you very much for joining us, Professor Jaldesa Guyo. I mean, what are your thoughts about the arguments that are being put forth by FIDA with regards abortion and parts that seem to legalize it?
Thank you for calling me. According to the Kenya Constitution, Article 26(4), abortion is permitted if, according to the healthcare provider or the opinion of healthcare provider, the health and life of the mother is in danger or permitted by any written law. What this means is that abortion on demand not be allowed. Provision for abortion to be performed to save health and the life of the mother. What it entails that yes, there are provisions for safe abortion to be provided by health personnel, but the Parliament is supposed to enact a law which specifically says under what circumstance this health of the mother or the life of the mother is in danger, or which are these other written law. So, as far as we are concerned, abortion is permitted in the country. What the Ministry of Health failed to do was to provide standards and guidelines under which the healthcare providers are supposed to provide these services to the needy women.
So then, how do you think those guidelines are working so far? Because from what even FIDA is arguing, that even with the parts of the law that permits abortion, it still seems to be taken advantage of by many.
Actually, it's not taking advantage. People are denied the opportunity to have the services, or if you have the services, then the services are not regulated because there's no standards and guidelines under which these things are provided. Therefore, the Ministry of Health has an obligation to provide, because the standards and guidelines were launched in 2012, October, and then after a few months it was withdrawn. They sent a team to work on a new one. This one also was just stopped. Now, in the absence of standards and guidelines, healthcare provider anywhere in the country will be doing things according to their own thinking and knowledge. Whereas if we had the standards and guidelines, then people will be guided on how to do things. And in the absence of standards and guidelines, in the absence of a law that tries to dissect Article 26(4), then people are at liberty to do things the way they want to do, or that some people don't even get their services because they are not sure of what to do. Therefore, there is a responsibility of the Parliament, and because the Parliament had failed to do that, then now FIDA seems to be going to court to compel the courts to give them the direction.
All right, thank you very much for speaking to us. That is Professor Jaldesa Guyo, just giving us some medical perspective of this particular law and the arguments that are being presented in court. Our reporter from Coast Region, Francis Mtalaki, is speaking to the Public Accounts Committee chairperson of the Senate, Moses Kajwang, from Mombasa. Let's go over there live for that. Francis Mtalaki, I will now hand it over to you for that conversation with the chairperson of PAC at the Senate. Good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon, Akisa, and as you have put it, it is day 2 of the legislative summit that is happening here in Mombasa, and the Deputy President, William Ruto, has officially opened this summit, which is a 5-day conference. But basically, looking at some of the issues that have come up is with regard to car grants for the MCAs across the 47 county assemblies, as well as the Ward Development Fund. This is something that they say it is very important in terms of maendeleo mashinani, for what they are calling here, and also the pension scheme for those who will have served for the second term, basically. And I want to bring in Senator Moses Kajang so that we can be able to digest this. Possibly, Senator, you have been around. Your sentiments with regard to today's session?
Thank you. We've opened successfully, and we've had an excellent turnout. I've been involved in the Legislative Summit. This is a third year running, and I think this is the third Legislative Summit. And this is a time we've gotten the highest number of members of county assemblies, the highest number of senators, and a very big delegation of national government officials. So I believe that if going by the opening, going by the enthusiasm that I've seen today, we are going to have a good day. We are going to have fruitful deliberations that will strengthen devolution in this country.
Quite a heavy task that have been given by the MCAs with regard to the number of bills that you need to pass so that they can be able to have what they are calling that it is very essential in terms of making sure that the common mwananchi receive the required development out there. But let's talk about the car grants. How beneficial is it? How is it going to help the MCAs in terms of service delivery?
Well, unfortunately, we've started with a lot of bread and butter issues. But I do hope that the bread and butter issues will take 20% of the time, and the remaining 80% will be dealing with the key challenges, some of which have been summarized by the Deputy President, issues to do with arbitration or resolution of disputes between the two levels of government, issues to do with pending bills and poor performance of on-source revenue, issues to do with audit. And, you know, I come in there as a chair of the Public Accounts Committee of the Senate. How can we sharpen our tools of audit? And issues to do with pensions, so that we are able to transfer the assets that were there during the local authorities, transfer them in a seamless manner. The issue of car grants and the issue of Ward Development Fund has come up. Car grants, it's not the first time. Every other time we've had the Legislative Summit, this is an issue that has come up. One thing that we probably will have to agree on by the end of this summit is that county assemblies have got legislative powers, oversight powers and representational powers, but they also have powers to budget. And I want to challenge the county assemblies, particularly in those counties that are doing well as far as collection of on-source revenue is concerned, that they can go into a negotiation at the county level with the county executive, and they can see whether they are able to enrich the fund, because each county currently has a car loan fund and has got a mortgage fund. What MCAs want is to convert the car loan fund into a sort of grant to reflect what happens at the national government. I believe that that is something that can be negotiated. On the Ward Development Fund, there are those of us in the Senate who believe in the spirit or in the principle of subsidiarity. The principle of subsidiarity is captured in the Constitution, Article 176(2), which says that government services should be rendered at the lowest level where it can be efficiently rendered. And I do believe that the ward, now that we have shifted services to the county, the next level should be to shift them to the wards and ultimately to the villages. Whether that requires a Ward Development Fund is a different discussion, but we believe in the spirit and principle of subsidiarity, and we are going to support county assemblies and counties to push their services to the lowest levels possible.
There's also an issue about the pension, and looking at the numbers that we're having, 1,000 plus in terms of the number of elected MCs that we're having at the moment. And according to their proposal, if you serve for 2 consecutive terms, then you're entitled for a pension scheme. And in your own perspective, maybe what scenarios are you looking in terms of fulfilling that? Because the podium seems everyone is in agreement that the MCs need some pension, as well as the Ward Development government funds, but the Deputy President says there's need more of accountability. What do you have to say about the issue of pension?
The pensions debate must be looked at from two angles. There is a pension for the members of county assemblies who are elected, and I have no problem, and I believe that Senate will have absolutely no problem, if county assemblies were to establish some defined contribution schemes where members of county assemblies contribute something, and maybe there's a matching contribution from the county assembly service boards, so that at the end of their tenure, they can get it either as a gratuity or they can get it as an annuity. Those are things that can be shaped, and we've got institutions like LAP Fund and LAP Trust that can be brought in to manage that. A defined contribution scheme, manipulated in whatever way that financial experts can tell us. But the forgotten bit is pensions for employees of counties. And I think this is where the Deputy President was talking about, and this is the elephant in the room, that we've got people who work for kanjos or local authorities and municipalities over the years, and they were contributing, they had some pension schemes. When we moved into devolved governments, their contributions have remained in a limbo, such that if you've worked, for example, Narok County Council for 30 years, and now you work for Narok County Government, when you retire, you are not sure that you are going to get your accrued benefits from the time you are in the local authority. So this is something that we need to deal with urgently, to see to it that those who have worked in county governments and local authorities for a long time, the true value of their funds, the true value of their benefits is identified and is safeguarded and is ring-fenced, so that when they ultimately retire, they get their true due.
And now, with all these three aspects, where does it leave the common mwananchi? Because this will require a number of billions for it to be successful. And in terms of looking at the wage bill that we're having, is it practical?
From a pensions perspective, there's usually a technical discussion between a defined benefit and a defined contribution scheme. If it was a defined benefit scheme, it becomes expensive on the taxpayers, because you're telling someone that when you retire, you will be paid a specific amount, irrespective of the performance of the fund. In a defined contribution scheme, it will depend on what someone has put in the scheme. So I don't think that if we went the defined contribution scheme approach, it will impose an unnecessarily heavy burden on taxpayers. But also, those people who work for county governments and who have worked for county councils, they are part of the population, they are part of the common mwananchi, whom we have the responsibility to protect and defend. We must ensure that any Kenyan who works in this republic and who has been part of a pension scheme or a retirement scheme gets their dues upon retirement. We don't want to create a situation where those who have sacrificed their lives to work for the state and to work for the government, when they retire, they become a burden. We do not want to have people who have been in productive employment getting into the Inua Jamii program that we've been using to pay a stipend to elderly people. So the county government employees, they're part of that Wanjiku, they're part of that Kamau, whose interest we must safeguard.
There's also an issue that came up with regard to women, and the nominated MCAs are claiming that their male counterparts are mistreating them. They're saying that at the floor of the House, maybe they're not getting the equal share in terms of contribution, and to some extent there's a bill that was passed in Kisi stating that they're not supposed to vote, they're not supposed to do such table a motion. What do you have to say about that?
If indeed there was a bill that was passed that made those kind of recommendations, then it is automatically unconstitutional. And I would urge the governor of that county not to assent to it, because the governor must put his pen to every bill for it to become an act. And I do hope that he will play his duty to make sure that he does not assent to a bill that is obviously illegal. We must also change our perspective around women, and we must also look at gender issues in politics from a different lens. There is nothing in an assembly like a nominated MCA or an elected MCA. Once you are in there, you are all MCAs, and all of you have got equal powers to legislate, to represent, to oversight, and to do budgeting. And I think it is more of an attitude problem. Already in the Senate, where where we have quite a number of members who have been nominated to represent special interest. We have gotten to an understanding where we believe that we are equal in all respects. Only when it comes to matters that have been defined by the Constitution, where voting is by delegation. That is the only time when a difference comes in. And it is a difference that has been brought in by the Constitution to ensure that the 47 counties are all equal. Any member of an assembly elected or nominated have got powers and have got equal rights. And finally, I think we also must look at our process of nomination. It has been done by political parties. IEBC must give better guidelines, because I believe that nomination is a process through which we are able to top up and bring in quality that we are not able to achieve through the universal suffrage system of elections.
Thank you so much, Senator Moses Kojang, for speaking to us. Well, Kisa, there you have it from Senator speaking a number of issues, and with regard to the three main issues, that is the car grants and ward development fund, as well as a pension for the MCS, who are saying that if those three issues are implemented, then there will be more development at the county level. Akisa.
Francis Mtalaki, as of course he continues to keep tabs on the legislative summit that is ongoing in Mombasa, speaking to Senator Moses Kajwang, who's the chairman of the PIC, the Senate committee at the Senate, on the sidelines of the Legislative Assembly. Thank you, Francis. Now, another scandal has erupted at the National Cereals and Produce Board, NCPB, and this time seemingly linked to the nightmare of the high maize prices Kenyans have been grappling with of late. Agriculture Principal Secretary Richard Lesiampe on Monday announced that the suspension of 5 top managers of the NCPB and put 59 other officials under investigation over suspected collusion with traders on maize importation and fertilizer pilferage. We now speak to our reporter Elvis Kosgei from Eldoret on the farmers' take. I mean, Elvis, this is definitely big news and a scandal that is being still unraveled at the NCPB. What are farmers who have been suffering in silence saying?
Thank you very much, Akisa. Farmers from Ainabkoi, Kapseret constituency, Moiben, and also I'm told from Keio South are saying that the regional managers who are suspended are just victims of circumstance, because according to them there are some powerful government officials who are hiding behind the managers. So according to me, it may become as a major reprieve to some of the farmers here in Uasin Gishu and North Rift at large, but to them the government is just creating a mountain out of a molehill. But let's just listen to a farmer from Soi constituency. Umesikia kwamba kuna maafisa ambao wamekuwa suspended wa NCPB. Je, unahisi kwamba ni afueni kwenu?
Ni mastuko sana kwetu. Kwanza mimi naitwa Kimaraf Kolum kutoka eneo la Soi, mkulima, nikiwa mkulima. Jana tumeshangazwa kusikia kwamba regional managers wamekuwa suspended, na haya maneno hatukubaliane nao. Kuna moja Daniel Kodonyo ambaye amekuwa hapa. He has been a very good person. So to me, he is a sacrificial lamb. Kodonyo is honest. He is always close to the farmer. He has the interest of the farmer. And please, government, you are using him as a sacrificial lamb. Kodonyo ana shida. Kuongezea hapo, leo katika makala ya serikali ya Eldoret, National Cereals and Produce Board, tumekusanyika hapa kuchukua fertilizer ambaye ni CAN, na nataka tena kushukuru serikali sana. As well as Lesiampe Richard Daktari ambaye ni Principal Secretary wa Agriculture. Leo unaona wanyang'anya makatels ama progress awako hata moja. Leo na andikishiwa, unaenda unalipa kwa bank, unarudi unachukua fertilizer yako, na tunasema ni asante sana. Wale wakora sasa wameondoka. Na walipoondoka sasa uonapo mbele hapa ni wakulima asili. Kwa hivi tunataka tena kuomba, tangu mwezi wa 12 wakulima wachalipwa. Wameanza kulipa jana, lakini iko na shida kubwa sana. Kilio ni wakulima wa large scale. Kwa nini wamekataliwa hapa? Hawa hawataweza ku top trace mahindi yao. Mahindi imekauka na kuwa nyeupe. Je, watu mnahitaji mahindi mwisho wa mwaka huu ama muhitaji? Kwa sababu pesa yale yamelipwa ni yeyote aliye na 1770, chini ya 1770 amelipwa, lakini wale wengine bado. La mwisho nikisema mahindi katika eneo hili hasa pale ninapotoka mimi Soi, wakulima wakubwa wako na mahindi, na ningehitaji kama ingewezekana, sababu hawa wataweza kuleta mahindi yao kwa nakala, na naomba Principal Secretary ama President of the Republic of Kenya afungue serials wakulima waanze kuleta mahindi, sababu mahindi hiyo ilikuwa tu ya kulimia na kununulia mafuta, lakini kwa hivi sasa tunahitaji wakulima walipwe, wakulima wafunguliwe nakala ya serikali, National Cereals and Produce Board. Do that immediately, sababu yale mahindi mengine yalioletwa litoka nje saa nje, na serikali wanajua ni nani alileta haya mahindi.
Wacha niweze kusikia kutoka kwa huyu mzee, labda unatokea wapi? Umesikia kwamba Daniel Kodonyo ni miongoni mwa wale maafisa ambao waliweza kutolewa ama kama meneja wa hapa.
Nasikitika sana kwa ajili ya wale wamefutwa kazi, kusimamishwa kazi kwa ajili ya mambo ya corruption yenye ilifanyika hapa. Ningependa kuomba serikali iko na mkono mrefu na iko na state machinery ya kuchua ni nane ni mkora. Kama Kodonyo aliungana na wale wengine hatulii, lakini vile tulikuwa naona hapa alikuwa mfanyikazi wa cereals yenye alikuwa ananetemo. Kwa hivyo ningesema serikali ichunguze kabisa, mtu asipelekwe nyumbani bure. Lakini kama yeye alifanya makosa kama wengine hatulii, kwa sababu sisi ni wakulima, tumesaliwa kama wakulima, na shida yenye tumeona this year 2017 haijawahi kuonekana. Mkulima alileta mali yake mwezi wa 11, 12 mpaka saa hii mwezi wa 5 haijalipwa. Na hiyo yote inategemea, hiyo mkulima anategemea hiyo kwa ajili ya maisha yake.
Mwisho kabisa, wacha niweze kusikia kutoka wewe Keyo South, ambaye je, kuna pesa ambazo zilikuwa zilipiwa wakulima, lakini umesikia kwamba hawezi lipa chini ya 1,700 ama zaidi ya 1,700, alafu pia kumekuwa na hii hatua ya serikali kuweza kuwafuta wale wafanyikazi.
Kwa majina naitwa David Kiprono Kiberenge. Leo tumekusanyika hapa na hao wakulima wenzangu kujadili mambo mwafaka ambaye imetupata kama wakulima. Tunashukuru serikali kwanza. Hatua ya kwanza ni kushukuru serikali kwa sababu baada ya wakulima ya North Rift kushika matawi na kudemand malipo ya mahindi na kuletwa kwa mbolea na maneno ya CN, leo tumeona ya kwamba hapa imetulia. Wakulima wanabeba mbolea, wakulima wanabeba CN na watatopress mahindi yao kwa njia ambayo inafaa. Lakini mambo ambayo inasikitisha kidogo ni maneno ya malipo, kucheleweshwa kwa malipo ambaye sasa tumeona imeanza kulipwa tangu jana na inaendelea kulipwa, lakini tumeambiwa ya kwamba wakulima wote hawataweza kupata hiyo malipo. Hiyo ndio swali kubwa tunaiweka kwa serikali. Mwaka huu tulikubaliana wote ya kwamba mahindi ziletwe kwa nafaka ya National Cereals and Produce Board, lakini kufikia sasa tumeona wakulima wengine watalipwa, wakulima wengine hawatalipwa. Tunaomba CS Rotich, Kiunjuri na the State of the Republic of Kenya, hii maneno ya mahindi na maneno ya North Rift ama wakulima wote kwa taifa la Kenya tuiweke katika hali ya manane. Mheshimiwa Tiren alisema kwa ile pendekezo ya budget ya kwamba ukulima lazima iwekewe budget ya over 10%. Lakini unakuta kwamba juzi waziri Rotich akatuambia kwamba expectation ya serikali na mahindi ya supply ambayo ililetwa haikushikana na budget. Hiyo ni kumaanisha ya kwamba Parliamentary Select Committee ama wabunge wetu ambayo tuliwachagua kwa kila constituency, wakati bill inapokuja katika serikali ama katika bunge, wengine wanalala ama wengine wanaenda wanajificha na kuambia wewe kama mbunge na ambaye umechaguliwa kwa Jamhuri ya Kenya, wakati wa Kenya wanapiga kelele, hii ni wakati wa kulima, hii ni wakati wa kurudi mashambani, hii ni wakati wa kutengeneza Kenya kwa hali ya kuweka chakula inayostosheleza.
Kwa hiyo kufutwa kwa mameneja huoni kama ni afueni?
Jambo ambalo linanisikitisha mimi mwenyewe ni kwamba tuna Mzee Kodonyo, Daniel Kodonyo ambaye alikuwa ni regional manager hapa Eldoret. Amekuwa mstari wa mbele akitutetea kama wakulima, amekuwa mstari wa mbele akiweka mkakati usiku na mchana despite of umri ila ako naye. Tumeona ya kwamba yeye amekuwa akiwork 24 hours to make sure everything is in order. Lakini tunashangaa jana wakati Mr. Newton Terer alipojiuzulu. Sasa sisi kama wakulima malipo ya wakulima tunaona inaendelea, lakini wale wakulima ambao hawajalipwa sijui ni nani atashughulikia hasa. Hata pia wakati amesema regional managers wametolewa, silo managers wamesimamishwa, will it affect the flow of the CN, the flow of the DAP, the flow of the payment and all other activities ambayo inaendelea kwa National Cereal and Produce Board. Tunataka mkakati ambayo inastahili kustahimilisha maneno ya mkulima so that mkulima asiweze kupatikana katika shida ama apatikane katika njia ambayo haipendezi.
Thank you very much. Akisa, in 2016-22, officials from the NCPB were sent packing by the government, but that did not help the situation. Now we are seeing a situation where 3 managers from North Rift to Western and also Newton Terrer, who's the manager of NCPB, was also sent packing as of yesterday. But of great concern is the issues that have been affecting farmers here in the North Rift region, the gruesome and burdensome access to the fertilizer, where at the beginning of the season we saw farmers had difficulty in accessing the DAP. Now we are told that CN is in the stores. So farmers have been waiting for action for long, and the government has been promising to take action, but time is of great essence at this particular juncture. Akisa.
Elvis Kaske for us there, and of course just speaking to a number of farmers to get a feel of how they feel about this entire scandal and the suspension of some of the managers of NCPB in the region. I want us to take a look at something that Moiben Member of Parliament Silas Tiren said pertaining to the importation of maize. Let's take a look at that.
This is the 71st World Health Assembly.
We apologize for that particular technical hitch we've experienced there with that particular clip. I don't know whether we now have that particular clip on what Silas Tiren, the Member of Parliament for Moiben, said. We'll be giving you that in a short while. But for now, joining us live from Nakuru is Kipkorir Menjo, who's the chairperson of the Kenya Farmers Association. Menjo, very good afternoon to you. We've heard what some of the farmers have had to say, but as a chairman of KFA, what are some of your major frustrations with what is currently ongoing?
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to make a correction. I am the director for KFA, Washington Issue, North Rift region, so I'm not a chairman. Yeah, the major challenge we have in the region as far as farmers' flight is concerned is that there was a major problem last year. The importation of maize was supposed to end at around September, but the importation was extended to end of December. That window allowed many businessmen to bring in a lot of maize, and that maize ended up creating a glut in the cereal sector. That is, millers ended up stocking a lot of it, besides what they were milling. Also, some middlemen who are involved in the importation also stored much of that maize in their godowns. Come January, when harvesting season began for North Rift farmers, when they delivered their maize to cereals, they realized that within about mid of January, we were told that the maize stores were full, and everybody was wondering where the maize came from. And that glut persisted, and finally, cereals was not able to receive more maize because of the challenges they had. They exhausted the budget allocation, which was there. The candy bags, which they were using, also ran out. And in the process, now farmers started agitating how they were going to miss to deliver their maize when they had already harvested, they had shelled, and they wanted to deliver to the silos. Now, when it came to payment, the first people who had delivered the maize were paid, and most of them were not really, the majority of them were farmers who had delivered. But more so, the first lot were the people who had delivered maize earlier, and that is which was comprising of the cartels, as they call them. And In the process, they exhausted the allocation, the budget allocation of 7.1 billion, which was quite substantial. The cereals expected to purchase about 1.5 to 2 million bags, but it went up to 3.2 as we speak, and I think it is even beyond that now. But the unfortunate thing is that majority of the farmers had not delivered their maize to cereals stores. And quite a number of them who delivered later in January, and even January, have not been paid to date. Others had still huge stocks at home. So as we speak now, as I speak now, is that the majority of those who had not delivered their maize to cereals still hold some stocks, and they have nowhere to sell, and the prices have actually tumbled down because of the maize glut. And those who had delivered have not been paid. So as in a nutshell, there is a mess in the sector. And what the minister has done the PS has done by sacking the management, or rather the senior people in National Cereals and Produce Board, I would say those people are just victims of circumstances. The key players who messed up the market are indeed those who imported maize last year from outside, not necessarily the local farmers. Because, in fact, the people they want to accuse to have messed up the market are those who purchase maize from their colleagues on the queue, which is not the case. You see, under normal circumstances, when farmers are waiting on the queue, those having less than 100 bags, or even 100 or more, or about 150, at times they give up on the queue and sell to those who are able to purchase from them. And there are some farmers who are well connected with the banks. They act also as middlemen. So they can purchase quite a number and store and wait for the payment, while the others can just go and do other things. So that is what happened, and those ones are now being accused as cartels, or even being accused to have brought maize from Uganda. That is not the case. The maize they are talking of from Uganda, Uganda maize is in a small quantity, and it's quite insignificant. It doesn't cause a lot of instability in the market.
All right, so because Mr. Menjo.
Yes.
So from where you sit as the director of the Kenya Farmers Association in North Rift region, where do you think is the missing link?
The missing link here is the people who are supposed to guide in terms of policy. That is, first of all, to allocation of funds to agriculture has always been wanting. One, Kenya is a signatory of Mobutu Declaration and the Melapo Protocol, which was reaffirmed in 2014, that for agriculture to succeed, they require to allocate at least 10% of the national budget. But as I speak now, I think the much we have done as Kenyans is about 3%, which is very low. Two, the restructuring is needed in the sector, particularly in the NCBB. Agriculture is devolved, but you see much of this work which is done by cereals is supposed to be taking place in the counties, not at the national level, because now if they want to purchase fertilizer, for instance, the county government administration involving the governor and his team, they know what time the fertilizer is needed, when they can import. So they should allow that to continue the way it is stipulated in the Constitution. But so as we speak, they still hold on all this. National level was to remain with the policy, but agricultural activities are done at the county level. So they need to allow this so that we're able to move. Otherwise, as it is, I'm seeing cereals will end up losing most of its workers when a scandal emerges, and they are always victims of circumstances. They are not the ones who do it. For instance, there is this issue of vetting. Vetting is done by the Ministry of Agriculture in conjunction with the chiefs, that is provincial administration. And when they present the papers to the cereals board, the work of cereal is only to see whether it has been stamped by the chief and the extension officer, and they give out the fertilizer.
All right.
But you see, if it is forged, it is not.
Yeah. Moiben Member of Parliament Silas Tiren has in the past questioned why those who import maize from our neighboring countries are paid immediately, but when it comes to the local farmers, it is by credit. This is a conversation that has been ongoing for a while, especially for farmers in various parts of the country. As the director of the Kenya Farmers Association, What is your stand with this scandal and some of the things that farmers have been going through in the past?
Yeah, the member of Moiben, Silas Diren, said the right thing. You know, when you talk of the dealers, they knew the allocation for purchase of maize was going to run out. And since they are well informed on what's going on, they were able to deliver their produce and rush straight away to collect their checks. Because as we speak now, no dealer is among those who are waiting on the queue. All those who have been left stranded are the farmers. And it is important that the government find a way of hastening the payment, particularly for these farmers, because quite a number of them had bank loans, AFC loans, and all these are attracting interest. While in cereals, because they have taken maize on credit, they will never add any cent. They will pay what they had agreed without adding any, there's no interest. So what I would urge the government is to ensure that as soon as the funds are available, they give them priority to minimize the losses the farmers have made. And that is very key at this point in time.
Wrap it up, Mr. Menjo. Just about a fortnight ago, the Deputy President announced that 2 billion shillings will be set aside to clear the arrears for these farmers. What is the status of that so far? Are we seeing any farmers being paid yet?
Yeah, he made a promise, but it just remained a promise. Because one, the minister earlier had promised a billion. Deputy President promised 2.5. But I think so far what has been received is 1 billion, not 2.5. So it is actually unfortunate that we get promises from higher echelons which are not honored, because it gave hopes to the farmers. They ended up also extending the same promises to their creditors to wait that the money is going to come. And then finally, when it never came, you know, it creates a lot of friction between the farmers and those who owe them some money. So it is not right to keep promises which have not been, which cannot be backed up by actions, and that is quite unfortunate.
Thank you very much for agreeing to speak to us. That is the director of the Kenya Farmers Association. Kipkorir Menjo is the director of the Kenya Farmers Association at the North Rift region. Thank you very much for speaking to us here on KTN News Desk. I want us to take a quick break. When we get back, my colleague Robinson Okenye is not here today, so I will be taking you through the sports news. Don't go too far.